Part 2, section B, My Funny Valentine. So we just finished on this F half diminished. Some nice B flat 13 with a flat 9. Of course, enjoy part 1. And it's going to go like this. I'm going to start on the melody for the first part of the second section because it has a nice little pattern that it follows. So we're in the key of E flat here. Down to this E flat. Now this keeps happening, this E flat and D keep happening, but the top note's going to go from a B flat to a C to a D. So watch. Okay. Now this time up to a C, not the B flat, but back down to here. Up here. And again, and then. And that's it. So the chords, I wanted to bring up the Jazz Studies US just so I can talk through them with you, even though I've got it already myself, just to walk through with them. jazzstudies.us, great. So the chord progression, because I wanted to talk about it. For this section is very, very interesting. So we've got the 5 chord of E flat, which is a B flat 13, flat 9. Because the top note's the melody. So this is going to be 90% on the chords. So E flat major 7, up to the B flat on the note, but the chord progression is going 1, 2, 3, 2, and then again, it's the basic skeleton, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, and then a 3, but with a major third, and then you're going to go on to C minus. Well, let's just worry about that first. I'll just show you how that goes. But it's interesting because it's strange to have a G minor 7 with an E flat. That kind of works. Sounds nice. Why? Because it's all the notes of E flat major 9. It's all there. It's just in a nice. I like how the melody creates an E flat major 9 from a G minor 7 chord. If you can see that. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Just E flat's moved. So it's quite nice how this keeps a nice chord note value going for the chords. So here's a nice thing to do in the left hand. Part 3 is going to be performance styles, but for the chords, just for now, F minor 7. See, it just sounds really pretty. Maybe don't put the 9 in it here. I need to hear that a bit better. Yeah, okay, it's not too bad, but maybe you don't need to worry about that. So we get used to doing that on the F minor and that on the G minor, and you don't need to play them together. It sounds even better if you open them. So if you can't reach it, it's probably a benefit, to be honest. That's very pretty. Here play G minor 7 inverted, and back down to F. Back to E flat again, because you're going to repeat it, but the melody up to the B flat, up to the C this time. Oh, that's quite a nice little pattern to get used to. D on top. Here I'm playing G7, but I'm playing it with an F on the bottom and a B in the middle. Quite nice. And then we're going to C minor 7. I'll put a 9 in there because it kind of works there. But now what happens? We're going to go up to the A flat. So at the moment, C is the 6th of E flat because it's all in the key of E flat. We're going to go up to A flat, but we're going to go to it in a nice way. Now the lead sheet says to play B7, semitone drop to B flat minor 7, which is the 2 of A flat, and then to drop to an A7, which is a tritone substitution of the E flat, which would be the 5 of A flat, as if 2, 5, 1. And what happens in jazz is that when you, instead of playing the 5, you play its flat 5, because the 5's flat 5 is a semitone above where you're going to in a 2, 5, 1 progression, and it's a semitone below the 2. So it creates a nice chromatic drop. It's a very, very nice thing to do. Happens in Skylark as well, and others. So you don't have to play that B7. I think that's maybe you can just put a passing tone. But anyway, so it's going to go, hang on. I think it's nice to just ignore that. Maybe you can put it as a passing tone instead of playing the whole chord. Melody notes an F. But you can keep the C in there for the 9, E flat in there for the 11. Now I'm going to give you this chord. A7, because the melody note is a G, but flatten the 5th. Sounds nice. That goes up to A flat like this. These are the notes of A flat major 7. Major 7 and root there in the middle. It's quite a nice melody note on top. So I'll play that again from the beginning. Yes. I want to do that part again, just so you can really see it. Melody note. Melody note, A7 flat 5. Very nice. And then you just have a D half diminished from the 2 of C, G7 flat 9. As we talked about last time, you can do any invert. You can just play a G7 if you want, but we're playing it in a nice 13 voicing, F, B, E, which is 7, 3, 13, or 6. Flatten the 9 here, and flatten the 13 if you want, or not, your choice. Anyway, whatever you do, get back to C minor. You can come back to C minor major 9. Sounds dark and mysterious. Very, very nice. Play C minor 6 if you want. I know that chord's coming up later, but it's more about the bass note, which is more important than necessarily the top of the chord here. But this time around, we're in the section C now. The chords are all the same, nothing new, but the melody, so that if you remember the beginning of part 1, the melody is, first of all, it's on these notes, and then it's on these, so it's going, right? That's all the beginning part, and then the second time, it's all around these notes. But on this time around in section C, it's doing one of each. You come back to it. Okay. Up to the E flat there. So you see what I mean? You're doing one of each. Okay. And then we're going to go, so I'll do that with the chords. So you come back after all that, nice dropping. D half diminished. G13 with a flat 9. Instead of a C minor. Ooh, don't hit the tripod. Okay. No, so this A flat directly, 4. But this time it's going into that more passionate sound. And then that 2-5-1 again. And then that dropping part to the A7, to the A flat. So it's like everything suddenly just compressed in section C, instead of it being all nicely spread out over section 1, section 2, first time, second time. This time in section C, it's just all together suddenly. Melody, straight into the second part. This one, you're onto that 2-5-1, you're straight into that 2-5 thing, which happened over time earlier. Now it's all squished together. And then it just finishes. 2-5-1. And there's two choices here I can hear, because it does finish on the E flat 6, and then the lead sheet just says to go 2, 5, and start again. But what about this? Well, I think it might be quite nice to just get. And then to go 2, 5 for the C, but then finish on E flat. I think that's really pretty because it's absolutely not diatonic or anything. It doesn't follow any rules. But I think it sounds quite nice. The minor 2-5-1, which you've been doing, D half diminished, G13 with a flat 9 or even a flat 13. Maybe the flat 13 because it gives you the E, or not because it's going to fall down. But I think maybe the flat 13 because that's then going to fall down to a major 7, which is kind of what I'm aiming for. So. Put the sharp 11 in here, 8, 9, 10, 11 sharpened. I think that sounds quite nice. Hopefully you can go through that. Of course, listen to lots of versions and learn the lyrics. That helps you to sort of see where the melody fits. And part 3, I'm going to play it all the way through. I don't want to make this video too long, doesn't need to be. In part 3, I'm going to show you some performance ideas and maybe a teeny bit of improvisation ideas, or at least how to embellish the melody. So part 3 is going to be fun, but you can't do it unless you know part 1 and part 2. So hopefully you've enjoyed these 2 so far.